When we talk about survival in World War II, most people picture tanks, rifles, and great armies clashing across continents. But for the soldier trapped behind enemy lines, starving, freezing, and outnumbered, survival wasn't about what they were issued. It was about what they could create, what they could adapt, what they could twist into something deadly. Some of the most effective survival methods of the war weren't approved by generals, weren't printed in manuals, and in many cases were outlawed afterward because of how brutally effective they proved to be. These were skills whispered from man to man, learned in basements and forests, and carried out under conditions where hesitation meant death. Indy's story will uncover 9 of those tricks. Survival tactics so ingenious, so desperate, and so effective that they changed the rules of war, and were later banned. The first began with something every soldier carried: the entrenching tool, a simple folding shovel meant for digging trenches. But on the Eastern Front, where rifles jammed in the cold and ammunition ran dry, those shovels became weapons. Soldiers began sharpening their edges on rocks until they could split bone as easily as earth. In the close confines of a trench, a rifle was useless at arm's length. A sharpened shovel, silent and brutal, could decide who lived and who didn't. By war's end, these makeshift blades had become so effective that many armies banned sharpening them altogether. Yet veterans never forgot a reminder that the simplest tool, in the right hands, can become the deadliest. Next came a weapon born of pure desperation: the Molotov cocktail. In 1939, when Finland faced the Soviet invasion, defenders without anti-tank guns turned to glass bottles, filled with gasoline, sealed with a rag, and lit with fire. These improvised bombs stopped tanks dead in their tracks. Flames poured into vents, blinding crews and forcing soldiers to abandon vehicles. The idea spread like wildfire, from Finland to France, from Warsaw to every occupied city where resistance fighters had nothing but courage and fuel. After the war, many nations banned Molotovs outright. But for those who used them, that bottle was more than fire. It was defiance and survival. When ammunition ran out, ingenuity took over. Across occupied Europe, partisans turned sardine tins and ration cans into explosives. They filled them with match-head powder, stolen gunpowder, or phosphors rigged with bent nails and wires stretched across paths. These makeshift traps didn't destroy armies, but they startled patrols, broke formations, and bought precious seconds to escape. They were weapons of time, trading firepower for survival. Then came a tool of deception: the pen gun. In occupied territories, carrying a firearm meant execution. But resistance fighters found ways to hide a bullet in plain sight. The pen gun looked harmless: a metal tube, a spring, a single round hidden inside. At close range, it could kill silently, or seize a guard's rifle in an instant. A tiny weapon that turned prisoners into escapees and captives into survivors. After the war, most countries outlawed it completely. Its power lay not in the bullet, but in the disguise. And then there was the bread bomb. In Poland and France, where grenades were scarce, fighters hollowed loaves of bread and filled them with explosives and nails. They looked like food, carried in baskets or delivered to checkpoints. German convoys and supply lines were hit by what appeared to be ordinary rations. The horror wasn't tea, just the blast. It was realizing that even daily bread could no longer be trusted. After the war, international law banned disguising weapons as food or medicine. But during the occupation, there was no luxury of legality, only survival. Even beauty was turned against the enemy. In occupied France and Belgium, resistance fighters rigged pianos left in abandoned homes. They wired explosives to the keys or hid charges beneath the strings. One touch, one note, and the room erupted. Radios, toys, music boxers, all became silent traps. The tactic was later outlawed under conventions banning civilian disguises. But the message was clear: in total war, even music could kill. To hide supplies, soldiers turned to the one place no one would dare search: graveyards. Weapons, food, and radio parts were buried in coffins or beneath headstones, marked only by small, secret symbols. Enemy patrols avoided them, unwilling to disturb the dead. Across Poland, Hungary, and Yugoslavia, Entire supply chains existed beneath the graves of fallen men. After the war, militaries banned such concealment, fearing it would reappear in future conflicts. Yet the lesson remained. The safest hiding place is often the one nobody wants to touch. In other cases, survival required memory alone. Paper maps were dangerous, proof of rebellion, so resistance couriers memorized every route, every turn, every landmark. They encoded paths into songs, rhymes, or even scents. A trace of herbs or vinegar left on trees. If captured, they carried nothing incriminating. Their maps lived only in their minds. It was called the burned map method, and though it was later restricted in training, it proved one timeless fact. Sometimes survival isn't in your hands, it's in your head. Even boots became weapons. In Warsaw and Yugoslavia, fighters embedded shards of glass, nails, and razors into the soles of their shoes, blackened to avoid reflection. Every kick became a strike, every stomp a silent defense when no other weapon remained. Governments later banned such disguised weapons, but for those who wore them, they were the difference between life and death. Every one of these outlawed techniques was born not from aggression, but from desperation. They blurred the line between soldier and civilian, weapon and tool, survival and sabotage. But that's exactly why they worked. They remind us that survival isn't about what you have, it's about what you can imagine. Bread, bottles, boots, memory, each turned into something powerful by necessity. When everything fails, survival belongs to those who adapt. And in the frozen trenches, in the ruined cities, and in the occupied fields of World War II, adaptation was what kept men alive. The soldiers and civilians of that era didn't just fight with what they were given, they fought with what they could create. And that's the lesson they leave behind, that in the darkest moments, human ingenuity is the most dangerous weapon of all. If you want to keep uncovering the hidden skills, the forgotten hacks, and the survival wisdom that history almost buried, subscribe in the beginning and share this story with those who still believe that the simplest ideas are often the most powerful.